Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to tell about myself. So I'm having 2+ years of experience in WPF, and I have done postgraduate from NIT Warangal, and I have been certified for an on profile G by online for on organization. We are going to cover all the related topic with the WPF, and we'll do the coding as well for the UI in WPF, and we will do the background code behind code in the C#, and we'll work with the database as well to connect the WPF controls with the database, how to get the data from the database into the UI, and how we will work with the database. And we will write the database code in C# technologies. And at the end, we will go to in UI and desktop developer with WPF. Here we are having multiple topics on WPF. So initially we will go for WPF fundamental, which we are having like basic theory of WPF, WPF, WPF overview, and WPF commands, WPF concepts, and next is XAML. We will go through all the related concepts of XAML. Initially, we start working with the XAML. After that, the XAML has come into the picture with the WPF technology. It is represented XAML, and we usually call it XAML, XAML. And through the XAML, we are building the application in WPF application, and without XAML also we can develop the applications like directly writing the code of every control event into the C#. So without XAML also we can make the desktop application for WPF, but it is not a good practice to like creating an application in the C# only. So XAML is easy to use for making a good application, good appearance, good binding. And here we will learn like what is the data, how to use the data in the WPF and XAML, and resources. So we are having multiple resources in this, like static resources, dynamic resources. So resources basically which we can reuse in our application. So resources basically like it is a application based resources, it is a window based resources, or it is a control based resources. And here we are having two types of resources: static resources, dynamic resources. So static resource basically when we load the application once, it will be loaded. But dynamic resources, it will load. It can be loaded at running the while running the application also. It can make the appearance and behavior of the controls. Media 2D graphics and 3D graphics, we will go through that. And media, like media, we are having media, video, audio, image, canvas. So we can play local video. We can play we can play video from the URL. This is come into the media concept. Creating control, we can create our own control through the using the XAML, and we can use that controls to making our UI better. Interoperation, we will go through that. Performance, security, internet applications. So this all the topics we are going to cover into our training part. So and what exactly extra topic we will go through that. Delegates. So what exactly delegate is? So delegate is a method reference, which is like whenever you want to call any method from the parent child class. So we'll use delegate, and so there is a some by default delegate is also there, like func delegate, action delegate, predicate delegate. So func delegate basically we are using for the when we are having one return type value and more than around 16, we can take 16 input. So we use func delegate. Extend delegate when we don't have any return type, but we are having up to 16 input. So we will go through the extend delegate. And predicate delegate when we are having only true and like boolean data type of return type. So that time we are using predicate delegate. So basically delegate, our method signature and delegate signature should be same. Then only we can refer to the any method to the delegate. Event handling. So event handling basically whenever we are like it's a button like button delegate, we can bind this event handling to the button delegate. So whenever you are clicking any button, so basically event handler only happen like click event, checked event, unchecked event, toggles, all are the event handling events. Dispatcher. So when we come into the dispatcher, it will work like when we want to access, when we want to modify the non-UI UI element into the like non-UI element to a UI thread. So we cannot directly modify, we cannot change the value of that non-UI element into a UI thread. So it will block the our main thread. So main thread won't allow to change, don't allow to change the value of the non-UI element. So for making changes on the non-UI element to UI thread, um, we need to use a dispatcher. So and then multi-threading. So multi-threading, we are having multiple threads. So basically threads are lightweight process. So where we are, whenever we need the the thing which need to be run simultaneously, the application should run simultaneously whenever whenever we want to make any connection to the network, whenever we want to open the file. So sometimes the network connection take more time, sometimes the file and like having more data, so it will take long time to open. So that time we are going for multi-threading. So basically what happen, when it will take more time, so that time we cannot block our UI thread. During also that we want to use that our application or UI. So that time we need to go for multi-threading. Either multi-threading like multiple thread we can use. So when we use multiple thread, so we can call the network URL, or maybe we can create the network connection to the another thread, or we can open the file through the another thread. So we cannot so we can easily use our applications while loading the data from the network, while making the connection of the network. So that time we are using multi-threading. So here in the threading we are having multiple options. Join, we can join the thread, we can sleep the thread. So sleep basically what exactly it is. So when we want to sleep any thread for a while, like we can give the second, millisecond to into a thread. It is taking the parameter. uh, time is a parameter, so we can make the thread as a sleep mode. And join means when we want to complete this particular thread, so we can make thread as a join. So it will stop the other thread. It will finish first, like it will finish this thread first, then the main thread will execute the. And mostly time multi-threading are like simultaneously it will execute the process. So what exactly happen in the background, the operating system will uh, divided the time into the every thread, and it will say, like it will execute at a random, like it output will come in a random scenario. So this is all multi-threading. And in our WPF C# we are using asynchronous. So here one more thing, I would like to add the task. Task basically run the asynchronous. When we want to making a connection with the network, so we can use the task. So sometime when we want to wait for some data, then only we can go ahead. So that time we are using asynchronous task, where there we are using the two keywords, async and await. So await keyword will uh, allow us to wait for the data which we are loading on the network, or when that we are making the list of data into the background. So that time we are using await. And when animation, like here we are having animation like trigger inside event trigger, we are using animations. So uh, and data binding. So what is a data binding? So when you want to bind any object to the UI, so that time we are using binding. Sometimes we cannot get the data from the object directly to the UI. So that time we need to bind the data, or bind the object to the UI. So data binding is very helpful feature for the in WPF. So when we want to like custom object we are having, like person object we are having, so it has multiple properties. So we want to show that object value into in a UI design. So directly we cannot get the value from the object. Like object custom object is basically complex object. It can contain more than n number of values. So we cannot bind that object to the UI. So that time we prefer data binding. So we can bind any complex object value to the any UI control. So it will uh, and we are having two types of binding. There is two mode, one way or two way. One way means when we make change any one place, then only it will differ another place. But in two way mode, if you want to make change in first, like target type, it will refer to source type. If we change any source type value, it will refer to target type. So basically data binding is we are using, and sometimes data binding we are using for list control, because we are having multiple list object value, so directly we cannot bind that list to that. We need to use data binding, so it will get the value from the list and it will represent as a list view. And what exactly, what is a trigger? Here we are going for, we will work as a trigger. So trigger, we are having three types of trigger, like property trigger, data trigger, and event trigger. So property trigger, like when we want to make any change in UI, like when we want to mouse over on particular control, so we want to change the background and foreground color of that particular controls. So that time we are use property trigger. So property trigger always hit on the certain condition, like is mouse over, it will hit, is checked, it will hit, it will make changes in our UI, whatever code we will return for that, it will make changes. And same event trigger, basically event trigger we are using for the animations. So whenever we want to create a button as a ellipse, an ellipse as a button as a rectangle, so it is giving, it is allowing to make changes in our UI control. And here one more thing, we are having styles. So styles basically we are using to making changes of like color, background, foreground, to making changes of uh, appearance of the UI control. We are using styles. So and one more thing, we are having the templates. So when we want to change any appearance of the UI control, we are going for styles. But when you want to change the behavior of the control, we will go for the template. So the data template allowing us to make changes in a appearance as well as behavior in the UI control. So data template, and another thing, we are having multiple templates for the in WPF, item template, data templates. So data templates, when we want to make changes in UI control, and when we want to represent custom object to the UI, that time we are using data templates. Item templates basically we use for the list of items. So when you want to bind all the items in the list view, so that time we are using item templates. Here we are having some layouts. Some layouts we are having. First layout is like stack panel. So when you want to arrange the all the controls in the either horizontal way or vertical way, we are using stack panel. But there's a no bar to, like if we going horizontally, it will go horizontally. Like even we are giving size also. And if one more, another is dock panel. Dock panel is just like a stack panel. It is also going like horizontally, and it is having like left, top, right, bottom, four properties there. So whenever where we want, we can fix it. One more layout is wrap panel. So wrap panel basically it's just similar to the stack panel, but here we are having like it will wrap the control into the wrap panel. Means if its size is no more, then it will wrap into the next line. But stack panel doesn't have this property. It will go to the at the end, even if it doesn't have any space. Another layout is grid layout. Grid layout is basically, here it is like it's just a matrix. So here we are having row and columns. So we can decide in which row, which column we want to put this control into the our grid. So it is having property row definition, column definitions. So row definition, like how many row we want to in the grid, how many column we want to in the grid, and every control is a container. Means every control can contain another element, another control. Like button can control stick panel can control button. So button can control one more stick panel can control images. So every control is a container in WPF. And next is like preview. We are having the one more best feature in WPF is preview. When you want to the when you want to show the our UI structures, like a tree, parent, child, like as a folder structure. So we will go for tree structure. It is like it is allowing to make a tree structure in WPF through the tree view. Now one more feature in our WPF is step control. So when we want to make a good UI, like it's supposed to work as a like tabular form. Like when we click in one tab, the for the like live tab. So when we click live tab, so live wala we will get all the live functionality into the live tab. If you go with the playback tab, all the playback functionality should be on the appear on the same screen. Screen will be same, but tab tab will be different. So we can go for tab control. Another feature in WPF is observable it is a C sharp feature, but it is we are using in WPF. So when we want to make changes in our list view, tree view, any list of item as a dynamically, that time we are using observable collection. So observable collection basically it can make changes on runtime onto the list view or tree view. So it will be very easy to make change on runtime that application. So our application cannot be crashed, and uh, it will reflect to the UI also. So observable collection is one of the best feature for the making changes on the list and tree view of the WPF. And some other feature is also there, uh, in WPF we are having app.xaml file. So app.xaml file, what exactly it is? This file is containing, like it is the initial point of the running the application. So here in this app.xaml we are deciding which method, which windows supposed to be run. Here we are having one property, startup URI. So startup URI basically, here we can mention the window name, XAML file name, see- file name which supposed to be run while loading the first time while loading the application. And we can give directly the one method name also, which should be a handler method. So here we need to change startup URI to startup. So here we can mention the method name. So when you want to run the method, when you want to start any method while loading the application, we can give the method name. When you want to load any like login window directly, like login window supposed to come initially when we load the application. So here we can mention the application's name. So both, like when you want to load the method, so we can mention the method. When you want to load any window, we can mention the window names. Here one more property is dispatcher. Like when we are running time, we are having exceptions in our applications, so we can handle directly using uh, dispatcher thread exception. So here we can it is our parent exception, like method directly. It can handle directly all the exception into this. We just need to mention the app.xaml, and in app.xaml we can mention the resources. So all the resources we can mention the app.xaml. So our all the application windows can use these resources into the all the applications. And here in the one more thing we are having in the WPF beautiful thing is skin.xaml. We can make one skin XAML file into our application. Here we can maintain all the styles, all the data templates, all the controls into the skin.xaml file. So in the whole application we don't need to create new design, new styles, new templates into the separate every different methods, different windows. We can use this skin.xaml and we can create whatever styles, whatever data templates, whatever item templates we require for the whole application. We can create all this thing into the skin.xaml file, and we can access, like in HTML, JavaScript, CSS we are using CSS file, external CSS. Just like we can use all the styles and templates into the skin.xaml. One more property we are having in WPF is config file. So config file basically we are maintaining for the when we are giving release to the any client. So some value which client can directly change, and it will reflect to the application. Like when we want when I want to like if I create one project and I want to change the value on runtime the application, we can directly change the value in the config file, and it will reflect to the application. So this is what exactly we are having. So I would like to tell you about the project which I have done, which will go through that, like VMS video management server. So here we are having we are making connection to the cameras, and directly we are uh, from the cameras continuously we are getting the images. So image directly will not come to the our application. It is come to the some data byte array. So through the network only we are making the connection to the host name, port name, and we are getting the data, and we are converting those data into the our useful information, and we are converting those data into the image, and we are rendering. So here what exactly we are doing, asynchronously we are making the, we are getting images from the camera, asynchronously we are processing those images, and we are rendering continuously. So here we are doing that, this task is doing asynchronously. So what exactly, and here we are using table left, the tab control I have been discussed, I have discussed earlier. So tab control, we have multiple features we are having, like live, playback, alarms. So multiple features we are having. So here we are maintaining the tips. One more tool, detection tool. We have one purely WPF tool and UI. So what exactly in this detection tool? Here I am using, I am browsing one MP4 file from the local system, and like I can call this MP4 video from the API also, and directly we are playing this MP4 video into the our canvas. Here we are playing this video into the our canvas, and here I'm using one mobile net detection model, which will detect the object into the from the videos, and it will detect the object, and it will, here I am maintaining the list of detected object in detected object. They are maintaining the list of detected objects. So here I have given threshold value, like 20 threshold value. So last 20 detected object will be showing into the list view. And one more tool I have been last I created, which is I show you, which is basically based on ROI. So first of all, like yes, open close tool. So first of all, like we need one image. So here in one image, we are making one ROI. ROI means region of interest. What is our region of interest? We can create rectangle, we can create polygon, anything we can create on images through the mouse, or directly we can create through the points. So this will be our template image, and we can browse the list of image from the system, and we are having the points which we have created on the template image. The same points will apply onto the all the images, and will compare through the to the template image. If any differences, like we are having threshold value, so if we are having more than we are having changes more than the threshold value, we can say okay, here we are having some changes in this in image to this image. So we can say like why I call this open close tool means, like I work with open, like shutter open and shutter close. So whenever I took one image which is shutter close, and I took one ROI from the close shutter, so same ROI I have compared with the all the remaining images. So whenever shutter open, the ROI will be, ROI value will be changes, like color will be changes. So I fix some threshold like 50. So more than 50 it is changes, means we can say okay, now shutter is open. So basically without using any detection model, here we are making the tool which can tell you the like it is just like detection. What you just tell me, the shutter is open close, we can tell get open it to close, we can tell anything through using this tool. So this beautiful tool we can use for the detection. And for the our WPF we need 16 GB memory for CPU 4 cores, and with Windows 7 and 10, 500 GB hard disk, and Visual Studio we can work with 2015, 2017. Recently we are working on 2019. And the second thing, we will then after finishing this WPF technology, C Sharp, will go through Visual Studios framework, .NET Core. Then after that we will prepare the interview. So how we will prepare the interview? All that we will go through all the technologies, and we'll learn the technologies, controls, and how to bind those controls, how to making the connection with database. We will go through all the technologies which come into the WPF, C Sharp, and database, and then we'll prepare the we'll practice will prepare the resumes according to our preparations. Will will prepare will take multiple interviews initially, then finally we will prepare one final interview and we'll go through that. We'll refining continuously those interviews. How can we be good, and we can get the certificate from the our as far as you're supposed to create real. We can create multiple multiple tools on the WPF as I have created recently. So WPF is a bit beautiful technology where we can create multiple desktop application, desktop tools, small tools, big tools, which can solve our real time problems. This course training, I'll share with you PDF link, like a website link where we can go through that all the tools and controls, codes, examples, projects, and we'll go for demo project as well as live project. So demo project will be like we can create a small tools and we can use it, and then after multiple demo project we'll go for live project. So we can create one live project and we can mention in our resumes. So live project will helpful for to getting a job in WPF technologies, C# technologies, and WPF mostly like WPF came into the picture recently 2000, I think 2008. So I think 2008 it came into the picture, and initially it was working on .NET framework. Now, right now we are working as a .NET Core, like since 2000 I think 15 we are working as a and through the WPF we can make uh, tools, real time applications using C# language, C#, F#, S#. We can use any language, but most probably C# language is most probably language for the WPF. And as well as WPF, while making application WPF, we need to we will go through that C# like OOPS concepts, abstracts, inheritance, polymorphism, and data binding, data hiding, and asynchronous methods. So all the C# concept will also come into the pictures, and we will mostly we learn how, like, here one more layout is there, which is canvas. So canvas also allow us to rendering images with the points, with pixel to pixels. We can set left, right, top, bottom, center, and WPF having beautiful property which is alignment. So we can align the all any UI control into anywhere. Like here we are having five properties: left, top, bottom, right, center, and we can set every control having some properties like background colors, foreground colors, style, font size, font weight. Uh, we will learn deserialization, serialization also. So whenever we are making any connection with the network, so servers, so basically we are making connection to a server to get taking a data from the server to our application. So this time we need, like, sometimes we need the data like serialize and deserialize. So why we are serializing, why we are deserializing? So serializing basically when we store the value, stream value into the server or file, so we need to serialize this value and we can directly store the value. So whenever we want to get back the value into our application, so we need to deserialize the value object into the our application, so we can reuse that same value as we saved. So serialize and deserialize concept will be there, file concept will be there, like file stream, memory stream, file reader, writer, and string builder. This concept we are going to cover in this session. So, like, now I will talk about the project. So this is the project I have created. So many projects which we can create on the WPF. Same project we can create. So we'll work with the WPF, how to make connection with the network, how can load the file from the network, how we can store the file to the network, how we connect to the database, how can get the database value into our application, how can arrange those table value into the our UI, like data grid. Basically data grid we are using for the making table into the WPF. So whenever we get the data from the database, we need to arrange this in the same scenario, same way as table contain the data. So we can use data grid in WPF to maintain the data into it in a table form. Thanks for attending the demo. Please share your feedback or contact us for query related of course scope, schedule, references, cost, and payment options. You can email and you can call on these numbers. Thank you so much.